Imagine for a moment a disease so merciless that it steals every basic ability, walking, talking, even the act of breathing, slowly, relentlessly, until nothing remains. This is the devastating reality faced by those with motor neuron disease, often called amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS. It's a diagnosis that sends shockwaves through families and communities because the path ahead is usually brief and unforgiving. But now, from the laboratories of Sheffield, England, a new wave of hope is breaking, a scientific revolution that could change the lives of millions across the globe. The underlying cause of motor neuron disease is as complex as it is insidious. In the vast majority of cases, the primary villain is a toxic buildup of misfolded proteins within nerve cells. These rogue proteins disrupt the intricate machinery that allows neurons to communicate with muscles, sparking a cascade that ends in paralysis and eventual death. Over the decades, researchers have identified several genetic and environmental risk factors, but for most patients, the cause remains mysterious. Treatments to date have been palliative at best, managing symptoms but never addressing the root of the problem. Yet the scientific world has not stood still. Behind the scenes, a fierce global race is underway to outsmart this disease. In recent years, the spotlight has shifted to RNA-based therapies, cutting-edge medicines that work by silencing the very genes responsible for producing toxic proteins. Unlike traditional drugs, which treat symptoms or try to mop up damage after it occurs, RNA therapies aim to hit the disease at its genetic core. This approach draws inspiration from breakthroughs in other neurological disorders, notably spinal muscular atrophy, where RNA-based treatments like nusinersen have transformed outcomes for patients once thought untreatable. Now, at the heart of this movement stands Crucible Therapeutics, a biotechnology spinout from the University of Sheffield. In early 2024, Crucible secured more than £2 million, specifically £2.3 million, from the prestigious Innovate UK Biomedical Catalyst Award. This grant is more than just a financial boost. It's a vote of confidence in the transformative potential of their research. The funding will allow Crucible to scale up manufacturing and advance their lead clinical candidate, an innovative small interfering RNA or siRNA therapy, into pivotal safety studies. These non-clinical trials are a critical step toward the ultimate goal, testing the therapy in real patients, in real clinics. But what exactly is siRNA and why is it causing such excitement? Small interfering RNAs are like molecular assassins, designed to seek out and destroy messenger RNA molecules that code for harmful proteins. By intercepting these genetic messages, siRNA therapies can dramatically reduce the production of toxic proteins inside neurons. In the case of motor neuron disease, the hope is to halt or even reverse the damage before it becomes irreversible. This is a revolutionary concept, one that moves us beyond symptom management into the realm of true disease modification. Crucible's approach is particularly innovative. Their scientists are developing divalent scaffold siRNAs, sometimes called siRNAs, which boast enhanced stability and better distribution within the central nervous system. Recent animal studies, highlighted by Professor Bob Brown of the University of Massachusetts Medical School, reveal that these siRNAs outperform every other therapy tested in ALS mice over the past 2 decades. The effectiveness is extraordinary, he notes, far surpassing anything we've seen before. But the path from laboratory bench to bedside is never straightforward. Delivering siRNA molecules into the human brain poses a formidable technical challenge. The brain is protected by the blood-brain barrier, a tightly regulated fortress that blocks most substances, including many drugs, from entering. To breach this barrier, researchers are exploring a variety of approaches. Some are using nanoparticles engineered to slip through cellular defenses. Others are testing viral vectors that can ferry genetic material directly to neurons. And some are even experimenting with focused ultrasound techniques to temporarily disrupt the barrier and allow therapies to pass through. Each of these methods brings its own hurdles. Nanoparticles must be designed to avoid immune detection and toxicity, viral vectors require careful safety checks to prevent unintended effects, and ultrasound-based methods are still largely experimental. Every successful delivery technology could cost millions of pounds and require years of regulatory scrutiny before reaching patients. The stakes are high, and the price of failure is measured not just in money, but in lives lost. Then there's the issue of patient diversity. Motor neuron disease is not a single, uniform illness. It's a family of related disorders, each with its own genetic mutations, biochemical pathways, and clinical patterns. For instance, while some cases are linked to mutations in the SOD1 gene, others involve abnormalities in TDP-43 phosphorylation or disruptions in autophagy, the cellular waste disposal system. This means that a therapy effective for one subgroup might do little for another. The dream is personalized medicine, tailoring siRNA therapies to each patient's unique genetic signature. But this vision brings enormous complexity in manufacturing, delivery, and cost. Can our healthcare systems and biotech startups adapt to this new paradigm? Economic hurdles also loom large. Bringing a new therapy from discovery to market is a marathon, not a sprint. It typically takes more than a decade and hundreds of millions of pounds in investment to move from the earliest concept to a widely available treatment. For diseases like ALS, where the patient population is relatively small, traditional pharmaceutical business models are strained to the breaking point. Many promising drugs have disappeared in the so-called valley of death, the perilous gap between early research and commercial viability. Will Crucible and its academic partners be able to navigate this landscape, or will financial constraints stall progress? Despite the challenges, there are reasons for guarded optimism. Early clinical trials for RNA-based treatments are already underway around the world. For example, the drug tofersen, an antisense oligonucleotide therapy targeting SOD1, received accelerated approval from the United States Food and Drug Administration in 2023. While the data so far have been mixed, raising as many questions as answers, they have undeniably accelerated the field. Dr. Neil Schneider of Columbia University remarks, "Tofersen's approval highlights the desperate need for effective ALS therapies, even if its long-term benefits are still uncertain." Other companies like uniQure and Ractogen Therapeutics are pushing the frontiers even further. uniQure is testing a synthetic microRNA delivered via adeno-associated virus to suppress SOD1, while Ractogen is evaluating a modified siRNA with improved targeting capability. Meanwhile, Biogen is conducting a phase 1 trial of BIIB122, an antisense oligonucleotide designed to target the tau protein in ALS and related disorders. These diverse approaches illustrate the intensity of the scientific race. Technological progress is also transforming our understanding of the disease itself. Genetic testing for ALS has become far more sophisticated, allowing for the detection of previously hidden repeat expansions and structural variants. This means that soon, clinicians may be able to match patients to the most appropriate siRNA therapy based on their individual genetic profile, a level of personalization unheard of even a decade ago. Platform trials are key to this accelerated pace. The Healy ALS platform trial, for example, is a groundbreaking study that tests multiple therapies in parallel, speeding up discovery and giving patients access to experimental options more quickly. As Professor Merit Kudkowicz of Harvard Medical School explains, platform trials are transforming the way we evaluate new ALS treatments. They allow us to test several promising candidates at once, maximizing our chances of finding something that truly works. Yet, with every advance, new questions emerge. Will these therapies be safe in the long term? Can they be manufactured at a scale and cost that makes sense for public health systems? What about ethical considerations, such as access, equity, and informed consent, when treatments are highly personalized and potentially expensive? The future for patients with motor neuron disease is now poised at a crossroads. Imagine two possible paths. On one, the world's first disease-modifying treatment emerges, dramatically extending life expectancy and quality of life for thousands of patients each year. On the other path, logistical challenges, funding shortfalls, or unforeseen side effects cause the field to stall, leaving families to face the same grim prognosis as before. Experts like Professor Guillaume Houtberg, a leading voice in RNA biology and chief scientific officer at Crucible, remain cautiously optimistic. In his words, "This grant strengthens the partnership between Crucible and Esitran, combining world-class science with translational expertise to accelerate the development of new therapies. It exemplifies how academic industry partnerships can transform research into real advances for patients." Jonathan Foley, executive director of Crucible Therapeutics, adds, "We are thrilled to receive Innovate UK funding. This research brings us a step closer to delivering a therapy that could make a real difference for people living with this devastating disease." The ripple effects of these breakthroughs could extend far beyond ALS. The technologies honed in the fight against motor neuron disease, be it advanced RNA delivery systems, genetic diagnostics, or scalable manufacturing methods, are likely to be repurposed for other neurological and genetic disorders. Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, rare inherited ataxias, and even some forms of dementia could all benefit from the knowledge and infrastructure being built today. This is not just a story about medicine. It is a story about global economics and the power of innovation. The United Kingdom's investment in RNA therapeutics could position it as a world leader in biotechnology, attracting jobs, expertise, and additional funding. Other countries are watching closely, eager to replicate this model of public-private partnership. Large pharmaceutical companies, venture capital firms, and patient advocacy groups are joining forces in unprecedented collaborations, all with the aim of accelerating the path from laboratory to patient. For patients and families, this means that hope is no longer an abstract concept, but a tangible possibility. Advocacy has played a crucial role. Persistent patient groups, visionary scientists, and committed investors have all propelled this field forward. Their efforts have shifted public policy, increased research funding, and made clinical trial participation more accessible. Every voice matters, and every action can help bring treatments to the people who need them most. As you watch this video, consider what these developments mean for you. Perhaps you or someone you love has faced a diagnosis of motor neuron disease or another neurodegenerative disorder. Staying informed about advances from companies like Crucible Therapeutics and institutions like the Sheffield Institute for Translational Neuroscience is more important than ever. The therapies entering clinical trials today could become the standard of care tomorrow. Even if you are not personally affected, understanding these technologies prepares you for the next wave of medical breakthroughs that could reshape how we think about aging, disability, and neurological health. There are also practical steps you can take. Support science-based policy, donate to organizations funding research, or consider participating in clinical studies if eligible. By advocating for more investment in RNA-based medicine, you help ensure that the pipeline of innovation remains strong. The history of medical progress shows that breakthroughs often happen when communities demand change and support bold new ideas. So, will these siRNA therapies finally break the cycle of disappointment that has haunted the ALS community for generations? The honest answer is, we are closer than ever, but the end of the journey is not yet in sight. The breakthroughs so far are genuine, and the pace of innovation is unprecedented, thanks to collaborative hubs like Sheffield and new funding from organizations such as Innovate UK. But the final proof will come only as the first human trials play out over the next several years. Success will require persistence, collaboration, and continued investment at every level. Here's something most people don't realize. The delivery tools and genetic technologies being perfected for ALS may soon unlock therapies for a whole range of brain disorders. The fight against one rare disease can open doors for millions, demonstrating how targeted investment in science can yield benefits far beyond its original scope. If you want to stay at the forefront of medical innovation, global health, and the economics of breakthrough therapies, be sure to subscribe, activate notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What breakthroughs do you think are on the horizon? Which diseases should scientists tackle next? Your curiosity and engagement power this channel and, in a very real sense, help fuel the next generation of discoveries. Join us as we continue to follow these world-changing developments.